Ken Dashow here, Q104.3, my dear buddy Jeff Kazee. How you doing, my brother?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Kazeedigs, huh?
Yeah.
Cool.
It's great. What is it's a concert series of songs I like. You know, I always say it's stuff that lives in heavy rotation on my CD player, iPod, and 8-track player, and turntable.
Nice.
So it's like some new stuff, some old stuff, but you know, sometimes I'm in a car and listen to you or whoever, and I hear a song, and I go, oh, I don't want to die before I play that song on stage, you know? Because, you know, all the other stuff I do, I'm in groups that we play original music, you know, and
Right.
people know it, but...
Right, but when you did the last show at the Cutting Room,
Right.
just people were dancing on the tabletops, people
Yeah.
were screaming. There's an energy in that music
Right.
that you just don't see today. You're not going to get it lip syncing or having a dance chorus going behind you. This was the real deal. Now, the next show is going to be Stax.
Right, it's called Soulsville, NYC, Stax Rides The Subway. And Stax, of course, is the record label that gave us so much great soul music out of the late 60s and the early 70s. And it was a Memphis, Tennessee mom and pop record label. They started it in a garage or wherever, and they actually moved it into, and you probably know this, on Macklemore Avenue in Memphis, an old beat up, abandoned movie house.
Wow.
And you know, they cleared out the seats and they put the band on the stage, and where the person sold popcorn, they would sell records. They had a record shop in front, you know, in the lobby.
Right. And that, what a band. That was, what, Steve Cropper, Duck
Yeah.
Dunn?
Booker T and the MGs.
Yeah.
So they kind of struck gold there. They started this little label like everybody does now, you know, that people make records in their basements, in their garages, in their attics. And guess what? They had like the greatest house band alive in Memphis, you know, and all this great talent. And Steve Cropper, as you said, who I got to play with the Blues Brothers band years later.
Excellent.
And it was a highlight for me. And Booker T on the Hammond Organ, which inspired me and every rock organ player alive.
Was that one of the first things where you said, I have to do that, I love that sound?
You mean for this show?
Yeah, well, for this show and for playing keyboards in general?
Yeah. I would hear the organ on the radio, and I grew up in, you know, the late 70s, early 80s, and I would hear that music, and it was quite a contrast to like the pop music I was into, you know, synth-based stuff and all that. And it just drew me in. And Schaefer was playing a Hammond organ on Late Night with Letterman.
Right.
So he had a presence that organ did. And I kept coming back to the Hammond B3 organ through Booker T mostly. But and the next show we're going to have the Hammond organ. I wouldn't do the show unless there was a Hammond B3 organ.
With a Leslie cabinet.
Oh yeah.
Like
Like I use with the Jukes and whoever. But in a little club like that, it's going to fill it up. It's going to be like a funky little joint, you know.
Well, which it is, right? It's the Cutting Room.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at this. I like this. Stax Rides the Subway, Soulsville, NYC, the Cutting Room, Thursday, May 8th.
Right.
Fantastic.
Well, the great thing about the Cutting Room is it's fan friendly, but it's musician friendly.
Yeah.
The band has Sean Pelton, who's playing drums from Saturday Night Live.
Great.
We have a special guest, Mark Rivera. Do you know Mark?
From Billy Joel.
Of course. Yes, Billy Joel, Ringo Starr, Peter Gabriel.
Saxophone player.
Extraordinaire and great singer. So we're going to do all the Sam and Dave stuff together. And he's going to sing these crazy high harmonies with me, and he's going to play some saxophone. I have two of the guys from the Jukes horn section, and then a sax player from Matchbox 20. We have a great section. So everybody's bringing some great, you know, some great credits. My guitar player is Jeffrey Lee Campbell, who played with Sting, and has played with a lot of people, and is from North Carolina. So we got to have a couple crackers in there, you know. And where else are you going to see 7 white guys play the theme from Shaft? You know.
So how did this kid from Ohio wind up being a soul man?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, I like emotional music, and I don't know, it just resonated with me, that music, and I wanted to be part of it. Wilson Pickett, you know, you hear that stuff. He wasn't
Right.
necessarily Stax, but he had a Memphis connection, and those guys would play with him and those songs. I liked laying it out. I still do, laying it out on the line, you know, and just giving it all you got. And that's what they did. They're screaming.
Right.
They're bringing it down. You know, they really would lose their mind in the studio, and they would record it in not airbrush it or what, you know.
Right. If it's a little sloppy, it's a little dirty, and it's
Yeah.
going to add to the flavor.
It was real. You know, the next show we're gonna do, I think we're gonna do some stuff on the great band NRBQ.
Yeah.
So I think I'm gonna call it NRB Who, because every time I tell somebody, they're like the Jukes, you know.
Right.
Every time you think somebody should know them, they don't know them, and every time you think somebody doesn't know them, they know them. So we're gonna do that's the next show.
And what's next with Southside?
You really never know what is next with Southside. we play every dump in every palace in the world. You know, I mean,
Which is what it's supposed to be.
it's steak one night and grits the next, man. And you know what? It's all good. There's nothing I am afraid of on stage, you know, after playing with Southside for all these years.
So it's amazing when you come to think of it that here is Detroit, this
Right.
little studio, Motown, that Berry Gordy started in a storefront,
Right.
and look at the ridiculous amount of talent they
Yeah.
had walking through those doors of Stevie Wonder and the Temptations and the Four Tops and Smokey. And you say, here's this little storefront down in Memphis, and look at what comes through the door. Sam and Dave, Otis Redding,
Yeah.
you know, and a house band that still is playing today.
One great thing about both those houses is that they were integrated bands
Yeah.
in music, you know.
And at a time where nobody was doing
No,
that.
no. And you know, it was like, that shouldn't be lost because Motown was trying to make hits for white kids a lot,
Right.
you know, at the time. And in the Southern trip, Steve Cropper told me this, they were trying to make hits, man. I mean, it wasn't like, they weren't trying to write the next great American pop song from an artistic thing. They were trying to make hits. You know, he went out of his way to say, hey, look, you know, Albert King, the great blues man, came to Stax, and we gave him his biggest hits. And so, talking to Steve, you know, they were trying to have hits, you know. And fortunately, the talent with Booker T and the MGs and the songs they had, it was incredible. The songs are great to sing and to play. You know, we sing them in the
Right.
car, you know. This is the kind of music I listen to at home while I'm washing the car, if I wash the car. And or grill, you know, whatever. This is my music. It's spawned a couple records with Southside, you know, some of the more soul influenced records.
Right.
And this is the stuff. This is the comfort food for me. You know.
So we get to see you May 8th.
May 8th,
Cutting Room, West 24th Street.
right?
In the city.
7:30.
Be there or be square.
Yeah, even if you're square, be there.
With a cool hat.
Thanks, Ken.
And my pleasure. And we're not related, it's just the beard.
It's the goatee.
It's the
Yeah,
goat.
yeah. That's good.